Okay. Ooh, let's set it up. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miyoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. I'm live from Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. I'm back in Japan. I was in Taiwan, and I am back. So I usually set my notification an hour before my live stream, and this time it was tricky. It was 20 minutes beforehand, and I hope that everyone got the notification. But let's wait while people come in. I have my newspaper here, but I didn't have the time to actually read because I just got back like 2 days ago. I know it's been a while, but uh, I'm tired. I slept a lot yesterday. Am I live? When people don't come, I'm like traumatized because the last time I live streamed, I didn't set it to what you call a public, and people were not coming in. I hope this is working. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yes, yes. I see myself. Good. Good, good, good. So I am back from Taiwan because I was one of the speakers at the Free Nations of Post Russia Forum, and that forum I would say the forum if is if I may put it in a simple phrase, it's a it's like a gathering of all the victim nation states that are colonized or either like taking up territories by Russia. So like we are all victims of either Soviet Unions or Russia today, or both, and we're the victims, and we get together, just look at each other like, oh, you're the victim too, you're the victim too, I'm the victim too of Russia, and we get together and say, make Russia small again. So let's divide Russia, and we either regain or gain freedom and independence. And so that's the gathering. So I was one of the speakers because Japan was attacked by Soviet Union, and their soldiers too. What they did to Japanese women were horrible. So I made a speech about it, and so we got together, and also we met Taiwanese. He was a speaker for the Taiwan. What you call that? Like a White House ish place of Taiwan. I don't know why it's called in English, because I can just read the Taiwanese language. But yeah. Oh, super chat already. Bird up, Yoko Tax. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm back, and I'm so happy to receive your Yoko Tax. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, you guys are coming now. So cool to see you. You are tired. It's 11 p.m. here. Yeah, you must be tired. Over here, it's 3 p.m. Yeah, I usually wake up around noon. So, so bad. Hello, Yoko-san. Hello. Thank you so much for coming. Hello, Yoko and Hide. Hello, Embassy. What's it called? I forget. Oh yeah, presidential office. Of course. I don't know why I forgot. Taiwan presidential office. The speaker, one of the, like the guy that speaks for the presidential office was there to have a meeting with us, and we discussed a lot of stuff, but I'm not supposed to say what they were about. And also we went to see one of the legislator there in Taiwan. Yeah, and he understood Japanese too, so that was cool. So we discussed again in a group. It was like a group meeting, so we were together. Yeah. Hey, Yoko and chat. Hello. So yeah, it was important. Usually the forum has like a live stream, but somehow the connection was bad. And I believe that they only have a short video that they posted on Twitter, X, and I already shared that with you. Only the beginning, the first 2 minutes or so, you can listen to what I was saying. And my speech was so good, at the end I said, make Russia small again. And everyone was like, whoa. So that was good. But it's serious, though. It's really very serious. We had some former parliament members of Poland and somewhere else too. どこだっけ? Former what? Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, and she also served for the European Union too. EU 議会もね。Member of European Parliament. European Parliament. And 他にもおらんかったっけ？なんか議員、元議員、おらん。Yeah. But yeah. And so on. And also the representative of, nation states that are under Russia's rule. And it was interesting to see some of my friends from I do activities against China's colonization, right? Like Tibet, I support Tibet, Uyghurs, Southern Mongolia, Hong Kong. And I saw my friends there too. So because this is as I put in the title, China and Russia are colluding together. So of course that happens, like those who work on a non-governmental level, like what we are doing together is the same. So we somehow, if we are working hard, we find each other in many different places. So yep. Spokesmodel. Oh yeah, spokesman. Yes. Yoko, you should meet Irene Strikaluski, who is a comic book artist from Taiwan, speaks perfect American and knows politics and history. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I did meet my my good friend in Taiwan, though, Taiwanese person, very professional, and she knows so much about Japan, knows better than I do. And I was a little embarrassed of my poor knowledge, about my own country. So yeah, but anyway, anything else to add to that? I think I'm good. Yeah, just I hope that you get to follow, the X account of Free Nations of Post-Russia Forum, because it's an important global movement. I know that American conservatives do not like to support Ukraine financially anymore, but if that's the case, even more you have to support those movements. They want to get independent. They are representative of their nation states, under Russia's rule, and they want to get independent. They want to divide Russia. They want to work for you, in a way that they are working for themselves. But if they do that, then that will benefit you, right? And part of me feel like, people like George Soros, for example, people like them should invest in that sort of movement, because if they Soviet Union collapsed, so why not Russia? It can happen physically, right? So and we have to divide China-Russia relation as well. But once Russia somehow becomes unstable, then they have the chance to get independent. And if they do, then if you invest in them, they aim to become a democratic nation, and so what that means is that you can especially democratic nations are easy to communicate with. So if that happens, then you will have more trade partners. They have resources and technology, and so that's more for your money. So if you invest in that, that would be cool. So I hope that people like George Soros or even Elon Musk and so on, I hope that they will pay attention to movements like that, because it's not a hobby, it's a realistic scenario. So let's see. China and Russia has been together in alliance for quite a long while. Yeah. Especially after they, solved the border issue that they had. I really want to, put a fire on that issue again. It would be cool. Because they have they have borders, in between, and I really think it's important that we make them fight each other. It's interesting that India and China too, they are kind of friendly. India is in between, right? They are kind of friendly to Russia. They're kind of friendly to China, but they're at the same time like with us, right? Like when it comes to economy and national security. So, but they're very vague, right? But they have a border issue with China, and there are conflicts every once in a while. So yeah, border issue is important, and for that same reason, I support Tibet, Uyghur, and Southern Mongolia. Of course, I care about human rights issues, but as for Japan, our national interest is about how to shrink China, communist China. I mean, CCP-led China. So for that, just like those nation states are, that are under Russia's rule, they want to get independent. Just like that, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Southern Mongolians, they are colonized by China today, and so that's what I'm encouraging. That if we can divide China into pieces, that's better, and especially because the borders in that case is on the other side of Japan. China is here, Japan is here, and Tibet and Uyghur are on the other side. Mongolia is over here, close to us, but so hello from Australia. Hello. Thank you for coming. Asian history is confusing, sadly, not taught here in America. I bet. Like, I'm not too familiar with history in Europe, for example. My husband is familiar because he is very smart and sophisticated, but not an ordinary person. My knowledge is pretty standard. I should be more professional, but I did get stimulation though, like after meeting lots of great people at the forum and outside of the forum in Taiwan. Um, but yeah, but it was really great though this time at the forum, because there were like one, two, three, four, five or six Japanese people at the forum, and a few Taiwanese people speaking, and then former foreign minister of Poland and others were there, and we actually talked about Japan and Taiwan, like East Asian situation, and there was this American guy that's based in Korea. You probably have seen him. um his name is Kelly Robert, and he's a professor at Pusan University in South Korea. He was there, and he got viral before in 2017, and I hadn't seen his video before. So I'm like, oh, the viral guy. That was probably rude to him, but he was saying how Japan is contributing. I guess he was aware of Japan's contribution for Ukraine, but he was saying how South Korea, Taiwan, like they don't, support Ukraine as much and so on. And so that was a good point that he was making. And also, European countries in general, they don't really care about East Asia, and vice versa. Like Asians don't think about Europeans much because geographically speaking, we are so far away from each other, like on the other side of the world almost. So, but this at this forum, like we kept talking about each other's problem, and then we found the common tactics of China and Russia. When we were talking about Chinese issue, the people from Europe were like nodding, like, oh, that sounds familiar. Like, oh, we've seen that before. So like that happens often. So that was really like eye-opening for everyone there, that we have things in common and our enemies are actually working together. And sometimes even for Japan, like we are the enemy of both nations. So, oh, Bird Up, thank you so much for your super chat. Soros is funding extreme left-wing district attorneys in America that are contributing to our crime problems by not prosecuting violent criminals. Ooh, he's been a toxic influence in America. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But the thing is, because he is left biased, this is like the forum that I participated, even though it is supposed to be like a centralist, like it's supposed to be center, but the world is left biased. So like they understand conservative values as well, but they're not necessarily conservatives, and I rather find they're a bit left biased seen from my super patriotic ideology. So I think that they have a good chemistry, like Soros and people like them. They can probably work together, I think, because it's for their freedom and democracy, and it's interesting though. The reason why I brought up George Soros is because he basically raised Orban. I know that American conservatives like Orban in Hungary, but he is bad. He is thinking about himself only, and he doesn't really care about the political side of Europe, and it's really bad, in my opinion. But he, for example, CPAC is close to Orban, and I'm like, oh no. But yeah, and I guess he was like a, if my memory is correct, I believe that Orban was raising him as his guy, but he betrayed him and he became like that. So, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, thank you so much for your super chat, though. Yeah. I think though that those investors and so on, they just care about their benefits. So what we need to do is to prepare what's good for them. Just like how it works in business. And I'm talking in an abstract way, just like Kamala Harris does, and I hate it. Man. Oh, super chat from Nate. Thank you so much. Ohio, Yoko looks 21 and elegant as always. Thank you. I try. I put on horse oil now on my skin. It looks better than before. I bet the vegan people will be mad. Yep. Anyway, let's see. Anything. Russia is 145 million people. China is 1.42 billion people. Yes, I tweeted yesterday. Posted yesterday on X about the population. I was just thinking, about like diversity in general and the DEI push by the left. And somebody was saying that the Chinese woman that was arrested in America for like espionage. I did she work for some Senate office or something? I don't exactly remember, but some kind of Chinese spy, that was receiving like a brand bag and so on for in return. But she was selling information of America to China. But she was some kind of video from years ago, like she was talking about equity, and so somebody was guessing, I don't know if it's true, but what if like the concept of DEI, even though diversity was already there, but equity, like we started hearing that word like recently, right? But she was talking about it. So to me, so like I'm like, yeah, let's go with the scenario. What if it was importing from communist China to destroy America, right? So then uh, DEI push. Wait, where was I going with this? Equity. Oh yeah, so why don't we, if that's the case, why don't we fire back with the same stuff? Because you know how China had a cultural revolution, and how like they burned down like churches and mosques and Tibetan temples and so on. They do that. They don't allow religions in China, right? But diversity, equity, inclusion, if you say that to China, that is gonna work in a way, I guess, that even though, like, if you push that to China, what are they gonna say? Like, mind your own business or something? But it's like, freedom is important, right? Oh, diversity, it's important. We gotta tell leftists in the world to focus on China, push their ideology onto China, because the population of China, as John wrote down, is 1.42 billion. That's nearly 20% of the whole population on Earth. And they don't believe in DI? You gotta target China, right? So you could, agitate leftists in that way. I'm activist minded, so I think of, strategy, like tactics like that. I think it's important, you know. Oh, Bird Up, thank you so much for your super chat again. Kamala speaks in abstract because abstract is a rejection of form, and a form is formality established on tradition, but it's yesterday's tradition. We must make tomorrow's tradition today, or else yesterday becomes tomorrow. Oh no. Did you guys see the I didn't get to see the whole show, but it's opera show, right? Opera Kamala Harris. Let me Google. Didn't she get on the show? Oprah host stars to sit down with Kamala Harris. Yeah. So Kamala Harris was on her show, Oprah's show, and I saw a bit, like a short clip of that, and it was so awkward because I can see that Oprah knows, like she knows people, like she's an expert on how to read people and what to do about it, right? And I could tell the Oprah, like when she was listening to Kamala Harris, I could see in Oprah's eyes that like she's like, she knows. But yeah, so that was weird. I don't know like how it went, the storyline of the coverage, but it was very awkward to see Kamala Harris going on and on and on with her abstract talk. And like I actually am kind of impressed that Kamala Harris can actually go on like that. She knows that she's speaking nonsense. Like she knows it herself, but she still like she doesn't run away from the stage. She is there just speaking all, and the audience is surrounding her. And I'm like, oh, that's like a nightmare. But she does it. Like, wow. Like, what a world we live in. Oh, but another super chat, thank you. Kamala's bizarre answers to some of Opera's questions are wackier than any of these Kamala super chats I've sent. I need to step up my game. You gotta learn from Kamala. Yeah, that's so true. Yours still have a theme and it just develops, word by word, but she is just, I don't know. So yeah, I'm laughing and crying, so like I get tears. Okay, I'm good. You almost sound like Kamala. I know. There's some female figure though on X impersonating Kamala. Like she's doing she's imitating her in her comic video. She does a good job. Like she looks exactly like her and sound like her. And it's so funny. It's like people say that Trump is dumb or he's weird and stuff like that, but Kamala Harris is exactly dumb, like she knows how to remember information and so forth. I am impressed by her like memory, like when she makes a speech out of what she has remembered or memorized out of her scripts that her brains write for her. Like she sounds completely different, right? It's very, very interesting. But when she speaks without any notes, she is horrible. Like the gap is so big, like usually when after you read a bunch of good speeches, you learn the patterns, right? Like no, even if you're not intending to learn, like after seeing like it's the same kind of structure and same kind of wording and so on, one after another, then you get trained, right, subconsciously. She never learns, so that's interesting. I've heard that Oprah didn't post the interview. Oh no. Oh, the impersonator does a really good job of imitating Kamala. Yeah, she is good. What did I put in the title today aside from that? Taiwan stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, Japanese boy killed in China. Did you hear about that? It's a huge news here. It happened very recently. So a Japanese boy living in China was going to school one day, and then 44-year-old Chinese man attacked him, and he stabbed him so many times that I hear that his organs were out and so on. It's a 10-year-old boy. What did he do to him, And the Chinese guy that killed him knows that he is a boy who can't fight back, and it's just like it's different from attacking a politician or ambassador or some sort, or diplomats. It's an ordinary Japanese boy just living in China, going to Japanese school, then killed in a horrible, horrible way. I hear that even some Chinese people are shocked, of how atrocious that is. And they're crying, and some are, bowing down and so on. I don't know how much of that is true, though. Like, because maybe they don't want, I don't know if they could be acting, but there are some good-hearted Chinese people too, because this is not the first case that Japanese people were targeted. When was that? I have a little saved data here. It was So recently in China, it says that it's from a newspaper, GG, and it says that recent cases against foreigners in China. And so June, it was American professors, or I don't know if it's professor or like somebody that teaches in China, got attacked with a knife. Like multiple people, Americans, got attacked in June. April, Japanese man, I believe is diplomat, got injured. And June, again, Japanese, a mother and a child were attacked by a Chinese guy with a knife. And this is a case that kind of became a huge news in here because it was done on a Japanese school bus in China. And the Chinese woman that was working there, on a bus, like aside from the driver, there was this Chinese woman, and she protected those Japanese, you know, Japanese mom and child. So she was like a hero to us, and we were all praising. But again, it was a Chinese person that attacked them too. So, and then this month, September 18th, Japanese boy was stabbed to death. So it's been happening recently, like it's not new, like somehow it's been happening like this year. This date, though, by the way, September 18th is the date that this historical event happened. Like Chinese people don't like that date history wise. So it said that even though we don't know the full story, we hear that it's probably the accumulation of anti-Japan education in China. And what I wrote on X, I've already written this on X, but this anti-Japan education in China, I'm like, yeah, they have the right to educate in whatever way they want to, but the problem is that it is the majority of what I hear from Chinese people is based on fabrication and distortion, and Chinese people don't want to believe it, of course, because who would expect your government is lying to you? The same case. It was the same case for me. Like I never doubted the mainstream media or my education system. I always thought that Japan was bad. In Japan, just like today you learn why guilt, right? Today, but Japan, after we lost the World War II, our textbook was literally inked out, like our what you say, like the parts that we are proud of were inked out literally, and then we made textbooks out of that. But so what I learned in school in Japan were very anti-Japan, even though I'm Japanese. And so I always thought like, oh, Japan is a horrible country, I want to become American. So that was how I was. And but in China, though, it's a little different, that they are so, like, they are implementing, what's the word, imprison, what's the word, imprinting imprinting patriotism in Chinese kids. And so in order to do that, they fabricate, they distort, and also they censor the internet space, cyberspace, and everything. And those who say different things than the government, or they oppose to the government, they get censored or jailed and stuff like that, right? So they have just no way but to believe in the lies. And I've seen what's popular in China is anti-Japan movies And I've seen bits and pieces of the movies there, and it is horrible. It is horrible, but on a fantasy level, that like how would that happen kind of stuff is depicted in their movie. So of course they're gonna hate the Japanese, right? It's based on fantasy, and they are just imprinted on a daily basis since they were little. So of course the hatred becomes massive, right? And then now what's happening is that, especially I think because domestically they are having issues economically and everything, and they need something to blame on. So I bet that it's part of the reasons, like you have to be frustrated in order to kill somebody, right? And also, if you are in China, I sense the culture that if you are anti-Japan, and there are people that come to, for example, fly to Japan and go to Yasukuni Shrine in Tokyo. And Yasukuni Shrine, it's a shrine, but Yasukuni Shrine is where all the spirits of our past generation people, our war heroes and so on, like those who have contributed, for our country, is there. Their spirits are there, right? So we visit there to thank them, right? But China has this way of thinking that they're war criminals. The coral itself was illegal. You know what, you guys, what America did back in the day, after like when the war, after World War II, or when the war was ending. I don't exactly know the date, but we had Tokyo trials. It's not legal, but anyway, they believe in that way of thinking. And then war criminals, even though it was the court itself was wrong, and on the top of that, with our enormous amount of signatures, we pardoned all the war criminals, right? So no criminals anymore, but Chinese people fly to the Yasukuni Shrine, which is like Arlington Cemetery to you. They come and they put a graffiti on our memorial, like the name sign of the shrine, and then just fly back, right? Because they don't want to get caught. And then they get praised. They get praised in China for doing that. I'm like, what is your problem, I'm not saying like, oh, Chinese people should think like Japanese. No, I'm not saying that. Like, I understand, like, whatever you want to believe in, believe it. But there are lines that you shouldn't cross. You shouldn't kill somebody. Like, you shouldn't kill our people. You shouldn't vandalize our things here in Japan. Like, why do you fly from there to here and vandalize and then fly back? I'm like, so freaking annoying. But all this hatred that is piled up in China is the root cause of everything. But the Chinese government is not taking the responsibility. I bet that they are rather proud of their citizens, because they have raised the little soldiers that can work for them, right? So awful. So awful. But yeah, so now Japanese people, especially people on the right side, are saying like, oh, we need to separate from, like, we have like a trade and everything. We have Japan China relation, but we want to disconnect that, like, already on a business level, factories are relocating, and also people are kind of withdrawing, gradually. But now it's like the last push for us. There are a lot of Japanese people living in China, but they have felt according to the post that I saw, at least on X, like, I see that Japanese people in China are careful, but there's a line of what you can do and can't do, and they're feeling very unsafe, so they want to come back and so on. So that's what's happening. And I also see that today I saw the news of Chinese ships coming into the territories of ours, like Senkaku Islands, around Senkaku Islands. Chinese ships always sail around. But I saw the news that it's been like 57 days in a row for them to be around the place. And there were several ships, but 3 of the ships had like a big cannon. It used to be only 1 ship out of a few ships that would come here, but now they have 3, and the number is growing. So it's really a bad time for Japan. But anyway, I'm rambling. Let's look at your comments. When it came to Camelia's debate was pre-made for her. Everything that she says is word salad. Yes. I'll see some posts about on X, but I didn't know the victim was a young kid. Oh yeah, 10-year-old. Yes. People who are hurting one often hurt other people. Often said hurt people hurt people. Yeah. It's China. What do you expect? Yeah, the Chinese citizens need the Second Amendment. 中国は日本の領空を侵犯し、空母が駆逐艦を連ね日本近海を航行しました。怖いです。怖いですね。許されないですね。I'm Japanese American and they always talk crap when it comes to history, but I cannot defend myself because I do not know much of that history. I feel for the Chinese people too. Yeah, I mean, Chinese people, there are like people with common sense also, like, I mean, they've got the population of over 1.4 billion, so there are good-hearted people as well. Yeah, and there are a lot of people that want democracy as well. But it's, as for a country like that, like with the enormous population, I don't actually know if democracy or dictatorship works, like which works better, because they're not educated well. Like rich people are super duper educated, they're smart, but there are others that don't get to be educated, and there's a huge gap. And those who, if everyone is educated, democracy works. But if not, then does it work? Like, I don't know. So, Sabaja, thank you. The Chinese government will never admit a fault with anything. Yeah, starting with COVID-19. Oh my gosh. Doing so would put a crack in the eggshell. Yeah, they don't want another revolt because the Tiananmen Square massacre made them look like monsters to the world. Exactly. And now they're erasing the history in cyberspace. It's sad, but it is how it is. So in Japan, for example, I play games, right? And even in gaming community, somehow people put the word Tiananmen Square massacre in the bio section of X, so that those who seek for impression on X and so on come there. Like Chinese account will not engage with you if you have the phrase the Tiananmen Square massacre. So even gamers that are not interested in politics often put that phrase into their profile section. Yeah, but so that's like a magical word in cyberspace now, because if you have that, Chinese people cannot engage with you, because if they do, then they get caught or censored and so on, like they get in trouble. So yeah. But yeah, always my husband often tells me, like, he's familiar with Chinese history better than I am, and he always tells me that whenever in history, whenever the power collapsed, it was always the people, rising from within. So, and it happens, it was happening before, but not after Xi Jinping strengthened the surveillance system in China. So it's getting more and more difficult because there are surveillance cameras everywhere, and the cyberspace are watched constantly without a break by their military forces. It's the military forces. They have a department of digital section. So yeah. So I know that Chinese people there are people, especially when it doesn't have to be political. It can be on an economical level, like whatever frustration that they have. Chinese people they know how to voice their opinion. They know how to protest, and they do that sometimes. And we see some movements sometimes, but then it's silenced after a short period of time. That's the impression that I have over the past years. So I wish that they could do it more, man. So like my opinion is that they have to be ready inside, and also we, outside, people that are outside of China, we have to apply pressure. So when both does it together, then finally we will have the chance to actually rise and change the situation. Speaking of which, the what I feel is the obstruction in this type of things is that there are people even in my country and your country, that doesn't like people. A lot of people actually don't want to change the status quo, and that is such a huge problem. That's stopping. Like, of course we say that to Russia, like, but like they are invading into Ukraine, and we accuse them for trying to change the status quo, but we make sure to say by force. We shouldn't change the status quo by force, like military. We need to work on a diplomatical level, right? But there are, like, that's my way of thinking, like force used in that way is wrong. But when it comes to, like, fighting colonization or authoritarian regimes, we do need to change the status quo, but it should be done in a way that the voices are heard. You right? And the problem of Japanese leftists, for example, is that they are against the human rights oppression by CCP, for example, but they don't cross the line enough to interfere in their political system. So people like me that are on the right side say that, oh, China should collapse. We need to divide China. Independence for Tibet, Uyghur, Southern Mongolia, and Hong Kong. That's what we say. But people on the left side, even though we can cooperate together on a level of human rights, that CCP shouldn't violate human rights, but leftists will not say that, oh, China has to change the system, no more dictatorship, no more authoritarian regime. They don't say that because they believe in the status quo, and also they believe that it's some kind of intervention, like too much, like stepping too much. Anyway, Yoko-san, you are not rambling. Everything that what you say is correct. Good to confirm that we are on the same page. Because this, like, I support, or I value freedom, independence, and democracy, but it's not actually something that we can all take for granted. It's it's rather rare in this world today. Like if you look at China, Russia side, like authoritarian regime side, if you look at their countries, the number of their side outnumbers ours. there are more countries or and nation states that don't care about freedom, independence, and democracy. It's crazy. Also, how are your elections looking? I saw the current administration is trying to destroy Takaichi, and Koizumi dropped a lot in popularity. Yeah, Koizumi was doing well. I mean, he had originally, just because of his family background, and also the fact that he looks young and good, and that he is a positive person and so on, like a likable person. Just by that, he had a good popularity. Like he was liked by people, but his number is dropping, not because of everything else, but the fact that the more he talks, the more problems that we see. So that's good, and for me, because Koizumi is he's okay for the most part, but when it comes to like identity politics, when it comes to marriage system or emperor like I don't like to say emperor system, it's a leftist word. Like our culture or custom of, we have our country has Tenno, what you call emperor, and people like him are dangerous, for our conservative values or just Japan itself. And Takaichi is good, but some people that support LDP criticize her a little bit because she is very. It's good that she is patriotic, but we're not sure how diplomatic she is, because she is saying she's kind of like Trump. She just says everything that she believes in, like bluntly, and I like that about her. But at the same time, to become a prime minister, you have to kind of calculate things, be more diplomatic and say that, oh, I will decide when the time comes or something like that. Like we all know how she thinks. She doesn't have to, emphasize that, right? Like she was asked one day, like, are you going to Yasukuni Shrine as a prime minister if you are elected? And she's like, yeah, right. And some people are saying like, oh, that's dangerous because we don't want to, you know, because it's not only China that doesn't like that. It's also South Korea. With South Korea, our current Prime Minister Kishida and President Yoon from South Korea, they've worked so much, and now finally, finally after the World War II, I think that we are in a good state, and Takaichi's way of diplomacy could harm that. So like you gotta take things slowly, and also like you have to think very deeply. But she's a hardcore patriot. That's good, but also that could, I don't know, that could be dangerous. Some people say that it's dangerous. I don't know, but what's important in this time in life, I think what's important for Japan right now is national security and economic security. And when it comes to economic security, Takaichi is really, really good. And her number is actually rising now. Uh, like she might be doing even better than Koizumi. So when that happens, it's the key candidates in this LDP election is Takaichi, Ishiba, and Koizumi right now, because those are the top three right now. And but only the top two can go to the final stage to like usually like you're supposed to decide one in this match, but it's not gonna happen because everyone like we decide the vote by the national diet member votes together with the party member votes, like ordinary people that are registered to LDP, they can vote. So it's a combination, and those three will be the top. But if Koizumi drops and if the final two becomes Ishiba versus Takaichi, then Takaichi has a chance to win. So yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Yoko and Hide are doing diplomacy right now. Yes, on a non-governmental level. It's important, I think, that people, governments are important, of course. They're the most important thing, of course, but there are things that they cannot voice, right? They cannot say, and so on. And often, seen from outside of each nation, I know that people have no idea, what the ordinary people are thinking, and the public opinion and so on. And you can kind of see that through polls that gets on newspapers, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So I believe that what I do is actually important, yeah. And I'm so happy, I'm grateful that you guys come to my live stream, because I feel heard and it's really important, and it's really personally too, it makes me feel good too that my voice matters. Let's see. Freedom is not the historical norm, sadly. It must be taught and fought for. Yeah, seriously, like freedom is not free. And another thing is that I found interesting this time traveling to Taiwan and coming back was that, like, this is probably silly, but when I was boarding, to get on the plane, I was like, how is this possible? I'm from Japan and there's Taiwan, a different I would say country, right? And somehow we have a plane between you. We can go back and forth even without visa. And first of all, like, the technology is awesome. And next to that, like our people, our nations just agreed that we can do that. Like, oh, let's do that because your people are nice. Our people trust you. Yeah, let's do that, right? So just thinking about stuff like that was I just didn't think about that before for some reason. And this kind of trust and cooperation is so interesting to me. Like, I know it's basic, but we take everything for granted that you don't usually think about stuff like that. Like, yeah, just go to America. Yeah, take on hop on a plane and just fly, right? But we have that system, and I'm realizing how important it is to earn the trust and communicate with each other and so on. You are most energetic after one of these kinds of conferences. You are most energetic after one of these. Yeah, because I get stimulated a lot. Like when I'm here stuck in my home and I don't really talk to anybody. And it's interesting, the humans, we need to interact to see our own levels, And I was actually part of the forum and I talked to amazing people there. And I realized, like, oh, I'm one of them, and I feel good. Even though, like, physically, I was in such a bad, horrible condition, and I kept running to the restroom, and I didn't know if I was able to survive, or somehow I, went through that day. I did well. 小泉と 本能と意志はないです。高い知識しか日本を任せられません。Yes. そうですね。But doesn't mean that the public opinion understands that. Koizumi doesn't seem that intelligent. He's not. I mean, he can study though, I think. But maybe not because, sometimes politicians or bureaucrats, like what they do is like laundering, in a way that Koizumi didn't graduate from any, like the university in Japan that he graduated from is not very smart. And he went to some university in America, and now he has that career, that it happens sometimes even on an academic level, that graduated from some ordinary university from Japan and then study abroad and then you come back with the what you call diploma, like when you graduate you get a certificate, some kind of, like, what you call, is it diploma? I don't know, like English. Degree? Oh, degree. So you have the degree, come back, and then you put on your resume like, oh, I went to this university in America. Nobody knows what the level is unless like Harvard or Yale. So Japanese politicians, by the way, a lot of them actually graduate from Tokyo University. That is the best national university in Japan, or Kyoto University, and then which is the next, and then study at Harvard, and then so they finished studying in both like very high level university. And it's interesting that even though they are smart, like there are a lot of citizens here that look down on them. It's so interesting when that happens. I mean, there are some people though that can study, but they're actually not very smart, like Kamala Harris, What is Donald Trump's thinking when he said that he was going to stop the war when he enters presidency? When does he have plan? Don't get me wrong, I have a lot of confidence in him. Oh yeah, I agree. I totally agree. That was, who did I talk about that with? Maybe with my Taiwanese friend. Yeah, Trump is saying that he's gonna end the war, and the only thing that we can all imagine is dropping Ukraine, right? So that's the worst nightmare. But I don't know, like, the thing is that he says stuff, and he just says stuff. But judging from his first term, his administration had common sense, and he did everything in a steady form, like it was such a good diplomacy and good strategy, like everything was stable, like Donald Trump era in the world, Donald Trump era was, during that era, like the world was in such a good place. The world order was in order. Like the world was in order, right? So often, like Japanese conservatives often post a photo of world conferences and so on they post it online, on X and so on, and say like, oh, those were the good times. And usually the picture has Trump, Abe, Xi Jinping, and Putin all together smiling. And we share the picture. Of course, our Prime Minister Shinzo Abe worked hard for that, but together with that, Trump, like we had a good team, right? Japan and America. And Trump was there, and his presence was so strong that I believe that it contributed a lot for the world peace, like it was well balanced, I would say. So I want to stay optimistic when it comes to what Trump is thinking about Ukraine. Because by the presence of Trump, though, now European nations like NATO nations are threatened, right? So they're preparing now. I hope, like raising their national defense budget and so on. It was interesting that the former foreign minister of Poland that we talked to, we asked her how Poland was able to, boost their defense budget, and she said that it's just, that they became aware, like the way of thinking just changed, that they just had to do it. They have to do it to protect their country, basically. So, yeah. Do you notice anything? I think I've got some power right now. Yeah. Just let's pull from here. Pull that chair. Chair move. I can grab the chair. Yeah, you see that. You see the chair. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. It's my power, Yeah. Almost out of the picture. Okay, go. Okay. Anyway, did you know Takaichi was a drummer in a metal band? Yes. What I have in common with Takaichi is that she is into heavy metal, like I do, and she used to do kendo, like I did. That's it's interesting that Japanese women usually are not like us, Like I bet that I will be a standard female in America, for example. I could be even feminine, maybe, but over here in Japan, usually women are extremely feminine, like very soft and fragile, and yeah, they look like a scrawny too. They're so thin and everything. But people like Takaichi are so rare, in a good way. Very whoever like females that can think logically is special in Japan. Japanese women are good at sharing emotions, but when it comes to like talking about politics and thinking about things in a logical way, it's not we are not trained culturally. So it's rare when people can do that, even though there are lots of good reporters and secretaries too, or even some national diet members. Yeah, there are rare kinds also, but yeah, it's not like we don't have that sort of people usually. Oh, it's been over an hour already. May's mind. Hello. Taiwan and Japan have a lot shared history and culture, right? Kind of like cousins. Yeah, that's what we would like to think, but there are some victimhood mindset in Taiwan as well. I can sense that, so that's a problem. But but it's but I hope that like Taiwan and South Korea, Japan had annexation, but I guess that some, those who are against that history, locally, I don't think that they realize the difference between annexation and colonization. They believe that it's the same thing. It's not. But when Japanese people say that, it's not convincing, So I really hope that people outside of Japan can, elaborate on historical backgrounds like that. Yeah. But today, though, with Taiwan and also with South Korea, on just ordinary people, we like each other a lot. We have a lot in common, like just subculture and so on, and also like just tourism too, and how, I don't know, like through entertainment, especially with South Korea, it's usually through entertainment and traveling and fashion and that sort of culture. And with Taiwan, Taiwan always help us with earthquake. Like it's vice versa though. Like mutually, we help each other when we are hit by natural disasters, earthquakes and so on. We are always the first to help each other. So we are like brothers and sisters, and we have a special bond. I hope, at least we think so. So yeah, I'm here trying to wait. Where did it go? Google the name of the metal band Takaichi was a member of, and all I can find are a bunch of articles calling her an extreme right winger. But they don't tell me the band name. Well, I don't know the name, but the band name that she was actually in. But I know that she likes ex Japan, ex Japan. Yeah, like she was singing on a TV program before. There was a time that 3 National Dime members, like from LDP, sang in a singing program, TV program. And yeah, I heard Takaichi sing on TV. That was good. I like stuff like that, like politicians don't have to be all serious all the time. Like they're humans. And when we learn about their soft side, we usually like them. So is KO University good? Yes. Very good. But not as good as Tokyo University. Like I don't have the level of KO University. I went to a language university, so that's like a loophole in a way. People think like, oh, you study a language, that's like high level. I'm like, oh yeah. No, really. When it comes to the LDP, let's look back at the past, what they said and everything to correlate everything that is aligned. It's good. What? Yeah. LDP, by the way, has been like, it's a liberal democratic party, and it's not really a conservative party. Like they were founded to change, like revise our constitution. However, it's not like they are conservative, And Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was a special figure in LDP, and he served the longest term, right? And so people have when people hear LDP, when we picture Shinzo Abe, but Shinzo Abe was such a conservative guy that we assume that LDP is conservative, but it's not. It was that he was special, and people like inside LDP like Takaichi too. She's special. Like she's not like other LDP politicians. She's special, and it's a minority inside whole LDP as a party. The conservative circle is very small inside LDP, but a lot of conservatives or people on the right side misunderstand what it really is, and they have a high expectation and post that on X, and that causes a lot of problems because people get confused, you know. Probably call Putin and tell Putin the US will stop funding Ukraine if Putin pulls out. Huh? Call Putin and tell Putin US will stop funding Ukraine. Oh yeah. That sounds like a good deal. Cheers. Yeah, well, check out Joe Stump guitarist albums. Ooh. Joe. Do I know that guy? I don't know. You should check out a Japanese band called Hanabi, Harajuku, and get a look with metalcore vocals. When it comes to music, I only like Western bands because, like, it's cool when Westerners or even like just outside of Japan do it. It's cool, but when Japanese people do it, I'm such a conservative that I'm like, that's not our culture. You know, even though I like to growl and I like to make music like that too, like, but I'm like, no. And if they sing in English, that's a little better. But there are Japanese bands that sing in Japanese, and we don't have the culture to express ourselves like that. So I'm like, what are you doing? You know? I guess I come too late. Thank you for coming, though. Hello. Oh, extra Yoko hour super chat. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, I have to stay. I guess I have to stay. France and Germany became friends some years after the war too, so it should be possible in Asia too. I hope so, but it's really, really deep. It's because it's just education, you know. And I think Korea stopped though. I'm not sure how much it changed, but it's really the education. People believe what they're taught in school. I mean, who wouldn't? You know, I mean, like you wouldn't doubt your teachers, you know, when you are pure students. But yeah, it's seriously, I wish that people would just have the opportunity to, you know, look at the history worldwide. Yeah, our education here in Japan is awful too. The reason why I couldn't do well in history class in Japan is because our textbook doesn't make sense, you know. Like we live in the continuation of the like post-war what we call post-war regime. You know, we are still in that for the most part. We are very self-torturing when it comes to historical acknowledgement. And so when I was reading my own textbook here in Japan, it was not connected because they, you know, our enemies at the time, and soon later those people that have benefited from that system, they made sure to cut the, you know, ties of or like cut the flow of our history so that no patriotism will grow. You know what I mean? Like, why did our people from that era do it? Because of the past, their past, and so on, protecting this and that. But it's just so disconnected. And also, our history book begins with anthropology. Is it anthropology? Wait, I think it's anthropology. No, no, anthropology. What is that? Archaeology? How do you read that? I mean, pronunciation. Archaeology, sorry. Archaeology. It begins with archaeology, like, oh, in Japan, there you have the remains of this and that, and this was found here, and blah blah blah. Japanese people were dressed like this and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, there's this what you call なんか、royal court, like what you call that? Like some political power all of a sudden is there, and like it doesn't make sense. At least to me, I didn't have the brain to process that information, you know. So that's why I'm like, it's difficult. I'm not gonna read the textbook, and I was horrible in history. And Anthem is a great Japanese metal band. That sounds familiar. I hear Loudness is good from a long time ago. Loudness. I gave a try to find the name of Takaishi's band. I wonder if she can play those John Bon Ham bass drum triplets. I wonder how good she is too. Let me look it up for you. Takaichi さんのバンド名前。メタル外交。She likes Black Sabbath. Ooh, good taste. Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and she likes a song from Deep Purple, Burn. And does say her name. Let's see. No, it doesn't have the name. It doesn't say the name. I can't find it either. Just say that she was playing drums in a heavy metal band. It doesn't say. Let me see. Do you like the singer Akina Nakamori? Oh yeah, she sings well. Whoever was singing back in the day sang well, but it deteriorated in the 2000s, or starting from early to like until 90s. It was good. Music was still music, but after that, people can't even sing well now. It's worse than my singing voice. It's worse than me. I saw that Nintendo is one only company to win a copyright lawsuit in China. Not to confuse the current patent lawsuit. Huh. I didn't know that they have copyright issue. I couldn't find her band's name anyway. Why do you care so much about her band name though? Hello. The English education in Japan is horrible. I know. I mean, we don't know the purpose of learning English here in Japan. We don't learn about that. Like what is this studies for? My recognition back when I was a student was because this is just a subject of the entrance exams. You know, when you get into high school and also to university, you need to take certain subjects, right? Usually 5 to 7 or so, I think. Yeah, my generation, though, the government somehow cut the education. That's why I'm like this. So like I didn't have to go to school as much as other generations, and I didn't have as many subjects as other generations. But so good for me, but I became dumb. But anyway, so yeah, English. I learned some alphabets though, English alphabets in elementary school, but my generation learned English starting with when I was 13 in what we call junior high school. So that's a 3-year system, and then another 3 in high school, and then 4 years in university, right? So 6 years of elementary school, 3 years, 3 years, 4 years. And yeah, so I studied English in junior high school, and then in order to get into the high school, I had to study English hard, which is when I became good though. Like I was one of the best in school. So then in order to take the university exams, the entrance exams of university is interesting because you don't have to, like, you gotta be kind of strategic, like me, I was not good at, as I said, like history and so on. I was not good at society, like social issues, even though this is what I do now. But I was not good at that, so I didn't study that at all. I focused on English and Japanese, and I found the universities that I can take the exams only by Japanese and English. And there are a lot of that. Even like if you're really good at English, like Aoyama University, I didn't make it because their exam was in UK English, which I have no idea of at the time. So I failed. But like you can do that too. So I searched with only Japanese English, and there was some hits, so I just applied, and got in. But anyway, usually Japanese education on English is meant for entrance exams like that, and we don't learn it to have a conversation, or in order to boost our listening skills and so on. We don't It's not like that. So I don't know. Just like we learn math, we learn English, so it's just on a table. Doesn't really make sense, but I guess the kids have to uh learn, like we need to use our brains and create snaps, uh you know like expand our synapse, right? So like that's what we're doing, I guess, in school education. I don't know about other countries. Should we improve our education? I feel like rather Japan needs to focus on Japanese language though, like our ancient Japanese language, which is very different from what we use today, like old Japanese. I like that uh, class too. We have that. It's a separate from a modern Japanese and like old Japanese. We learn two different Japanese kinds, and we need to focus on that, because if we don't understand where we come from, how we were speaking before, then we don't understand what we are today. Again, like it's disconnected, and the disconnection is something that we shouldn't have. And English we can learn from, like, afterwards too. If you learn, like, I think it's just about how, if you learn how to study, I think that you can learn at any moment. Mm, I saw something recent from Akina Nakamura on YouTube. Really, she's still singing? I can still sing, but her new music is very different. Super chat, thank you. I will not reset until I find the name of her. But even if I'm an old man sitting on a porch still googling it 40 years from now. Oh no, you're gonna age looking for the band. In the meantime, I will try to boost my career so that I can talk to Takaichi and then actually hear that name from her. Oh, did your band have a name? When I traveled, I learned English is great as an international language. Yeah, most business and government learn it in the world. Lucky it's my primary language. Cool. Yeah. But English is at least simple. And when I do all this, political activities, I talk to non-native speakers of English, right? And they speak in broken English, and still we can communicate. So it's good that English is that simple. Like even if your grammar is messed up, you can still understand what, like you can understand what they're trying to say. So, but it's interesting though, because I am so used to American English, and when other people speak, the people that I encounter, in political events, like when the people I encounter speak in American accent, I feel very close. And when they speak with like a European accent and so on, like it's hard to understand, and I feel the distance, And when it's broken too, like I feel like it gets you a weird feeling. And I guess that this is something that Americans are feeling too. In the sense, I might be American, It's very interesting what language does to you. Yeah. And I realized, like, in that way, it is very important that you speak the language of who you are talking to. Yeah, like you have to adjust yourself for your own sake. Best way to get students to get into a foreign language class is to give extra credits. Oh, that's true. Or just have somebody that's very attractive. When you're young, you have lots of romantic relationships and so on. I think that I learned English well because I have two reasons. One, I wanted to defeat everybody. Like I wanted to win, be better than anybody else. Like I had this weird feisty tomboy wish, right? The other was because for the reason I wanted to date somebody and learn as much as I can. It could be on a friendly level too, I think. But when there is some burning desire, then you can try hard. So, you know, if there was some gorgeous woman, boys will learn better. Maybe. Just kidding. Same in America, English literature is a lost art. Oh no. Yeah. English is necessary as international trade language. Yeah. I mean, we all need common language, but like people like me, I didn't study abroad, I learned my English in my own country and I keep studying it. So in a way, when I encounter new words, I search and remember, or I mean memorize. That's what I do, like, constantly, and I can communicate with you. So should other people. They just don't have the reason to do that. So I don't know. Like I'm really such a conservative that I'm like there are enough English speaking Japanese people. So I'm more about you know teaching Japanese people Japanese language, enough so that we can debate and so on. Like what we are missing is, like, even if we learn English, like if the majority of us are as fluent as I am or even better, doesn't actually matter because Japanese people are not trained to debate or have a presentation. We are not trained like that. So that's the basic thing that we need to do first, I think. Or else, like, so learn language. So what? Like, what can they do? You know? Oh, Sebastian, thank you. Have you ever heard Old English? Some period piece movies use it. If and even I get lost on it sometimes. Great example of this is a horror film from 2015 called The Witch. Huh. I should see that. The Witch? I like witches. No, I don't think that I've heard any. I mean, in sometimes when I watch like on Netflix, for example, like some like recent TV show does have some like a play scene and so on, and they do Romeo and Juliet or whatever. And maybe I have heard, but I don't know. Wait, you is though or something? Like though the type of things is something that I see. Like I've seen the spelling, but I don't actually know much. Isn't it weird that if we talk to the people back in the day, we probably cannot have a conversation? Isn't it weird that over time we changed our language, same in Japan? And also, what I hear is that in the past, our people spoke so slowly. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, whoa, whoa, like, it's probably only like our time, the sense of time was so different. But especially after the internet time, like when internet became our infrastructure, I think that we are speaking faster and faster, and together with a smartphone's invention, because we can access information like quickly. We have to keep up with that, and we are thinking faster. And when we speak, it's really fast. And when we are passively consuming something, like a video or TV shows, Netflix shows, whatever, we are used to hearing that fast, and then we want to accelerate that. Like we want to make it faster. So like what I do often too is that I multiply the speed. Like usually to the even like even when I listen to English, sometimes I have to, change the pace to double the pace or something. And I can't stand those who speak slowly now. Like when I'm in the meeting or something, I'm like, get to the point, like speak faster, I don't have the like I should probably meditate, but I have that kind of tendency. So if I spoke to my own people from back in the day, I don't think that like I would probably leave, right? Like I can't stand you. Yeah. Anyway, man, it's been over an hour and a half. I gotta go, man. Many years ago, I was in Ukraine for a month. I started to make the same English mistake as they. Uh, very old English is similar to German. Oh yeah, I bet. You guys have the same, like you inspired each other, right? So yeah, like sometimes when I like cliche, for example, like the English word cliche, isn't it from French or something? Like sometimes, or parfait, or buffet, or the fay. Like whenever, like I when I am reading or hearing something in English, like there are words that I don't know still. And when I look up, I realize that it's from French or some other language, and I'm like, oh, no wonder. I just got here. Oh, I was about to end this though. But thank you so much for coming. Extra half hours in my chat. Oh no. My husband is like, oh. We gotta go though. We have to. I mean, you guys have to sleep though, right? Hmm. You need to learn the zen of speaking slowly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's really such a reflection. It's so interesting that when I wait, my necklace is okay. When I watch political shows, I mean, I don't really, but my husband does on TV. So I sometimes join him. And when I watch like political shows, like conservative shows, when I watch like older generation, uh, some YouTube shows and so on, they speak slowly, like, "Oh, yes, what do you think? Mm. Oh, so here is the problem. Oh, yes. Oh, yes." They're speaking like that, right? And when we watch like people that are in the 30s or 40s, they speak like me. They're fast paced and speak faster and on point, get to the point easily. Oh, and it's easy to understand. But I really can't stand like older generation shows, and that's why I don't follow like channels on YouTube like conservative shows. Even like I can't stand. I have a short temper, so I can't. I should rather read, and it's so hard for me to read newspaper as well because I don't have the patience. I'm like, okay, each sentence, and I often like skip. Like I'm like my husband tells me, gives me something to read sometimes, like, oh, this is important information you should read. So I read. I'm like, okay, I'm done. And he's like, you're not reading. You just went through that. So yeah, that's my problem. I'm just a modern person. Oh, Super Chat, thank you. If you want to hear old Japanese, you could watch Shogun. Oh, yeah. Apparently, the actors had to learn how Japanese people spoke in the 10th century. Oh, I should watch that. I mean, I heard from Hiroyuki Sanada that, like, he was saying on TV that, how Japanese people, like Japanese, like old drama, and now uh, influenced too much by the Western world, and also like they change things around to adjust to the modern generation. And like he was saying stuff like that on that line, and he wanted to create something genuinely Japanese, right? So yeah, my husband says it's probably 16th century instead of 10th century. He likes to correct everybody. Oh. True. Yeah. Our 10th century is probably like our rich people century. Exactly when people were speaking very slowly and so on. I work at night, so this is my late afternoon. Oh no. You're like me though then. I really go to bed. I mean, I'm in bed starting from on like 12 at night or so, and I can't fall asleep for a couple of hours. Yep. Thank you, Yoko and Noisy Hide and chat. Noisy Hide. 4:40? You're in Japan? The thunderstorm kept me awake last night. Me too. Me too. Oh yeah, Avalos. Am I connected to you online? I think. Yeah. Yeah, it was so noisy. My mom messaged me today and told me that she couldn't fall asleep because Taro, our dog, kept barking at the thunderstorm. You know, the little guy does that all the time. And it's interesting because today when I was waking up, I had a dream of my dog, like not Taro that we have today, but the dog that we used to have. I have had a dream of him. And maybe it's some spiritual thing because our dog today was barking. But anyway, Shogun was a cool show. I heard it won a ton of Emmy awards. Yes, it did. And the actors, Hiroyuki Sanada and also the actress got an award as well. Yeah. And part of me was wondering that it might be by the influence of political correctness. So I wasn't sure if I was to, be happy about it. Like you can't tell, right? But then when I was checking out the news on X, like there was a news post and then a bunch of replies from all over the world, and I saw like, oh, like people were actually praising that show, saying that how it's a masterpiece and so on. Yeah. And so I was relieved to see that, because you don't want to see the complaints, right? Like, you don't want to see that. But yeah, people like that, and they were impressed by the show. So I'm like, oh, okay. So the hard work of Sanada paid off, because he made such an effort. I can't even imagine myself working in America, as a foreigner. I can't even imagine that. But I bet that he had to face a lot of like racial problems, like it's important to build your status in another country. But he did that, and he even created something good, after building his position in the industry. So it's amazing. Yeah. My kids woke up early. Ooh, early bird. My bird is standing still today. That's good. The last time he flew. My village is on the military helicopter training area. Oh, can be very loud sometimes. Oh yeah, here too. We have several bases, both air and land. Yes. So when I shop at the grocery store and so on, I see a bunch of self-defense forces people. And yeah, and also yeah, they fly around too sometimes. It's really loud. That's me trying to imitate that sound. It is political correctness to help a show, but it better wins than other worse political correct trash shows. Shogun wasn't politically correct show though. Oh, true. If anything, it was very much the opposite. Going back in time. True, true, true. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. And he made sure that it is reflecting our culture like precisely. So that's such a like a culturally, like I think that it has cultural values. Because if you look at like Netflix shows, for example, a lot of the times it's cool. Like I actually often see the Japanese elements in Netflix shows, like oh wow, like they actually think of our culture in a good way, or that they think that it's exotic and so on. And so that's cool, but often it's taken out of context, or like it's introduced in a weird way. But yeah, he is a native, like he is Japanese, and he created that show, so that's good. I'm isn't it interesting that now Shogun won the award, and also Ubisoft made that game, and it got controversy. It was such a controversy, but a lot of people in the world uh, defended Japan, and trying to fight political correctness. So that was good. But I'm just, you know, glad, and like I don't what's the word, like appreciative of people in the world, that value culture, and like they respect our past or our culture, and that's, and as as we were discussing, Japanese people don't speak English well, and it's really nice to see that there are people that actually help us. Mm. I mean, we have English speakers, so they should be engaging more in the cyberspace, I think. But yeah, South Korea, for example, is really good at promoting their culture globally. They have a government. Do they still have that? Like they established some kind of uh position, what you call, like not institution, but some kind of department to promote their culture, because they are often misunderstood, like confused with North Korea. They're South Korea, but they often got confused. So they began to promote their culture. So, and Japan doesn't have stuff like that. We kind of had, when it comes to history, we had Japan House, which is located in, is it in Los Angeles or somewhere like in California? But it's now taken over by the left. But yeah, Assassin's Creed. Oh yes, that is the name. Ubisoft game in the hot water right now. Still. Oh, super chat. Thank you. Cool hand look. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It helps my show. Thank you. The Ubisoft made the main samurai guy an African man. Yeah. Like, it's cool if it was a fantasy level, you know? But if they say that it's based on history, that's bad. Like, don't mix up fantasy with the real history. Just tell Ubisoft to stop culturally appropriating Japan's history. Yeah, don't change our things around. Our Netflix in America, most watched shows are Korean made. Oh yeah, with the occasion and popular IP. What is IP? Yeah, Korean shows are popular even here in Japan. I guess that they have so much drama. I've never seen anything, but I suppose, like, judging from what I hear, like, it's very dramatic, right? Oh, another super chat. Thank you. This program is sponsored by Butter. People have wanted an authentic Japanese Assassin's Creed game for a decade now. Oh, so Ubisoft is reframing of Yasuke based on some British guys. Fan fiction is also an insult to gamers everywhere. Oh, I see. Yeah. It's just creating a game costs so much, costs like the money, and also the time is, you need so much time and energy to create that. I've seen a documentary of I think it was Capcom in Japan, like a gaming company here, and our broadcasting station NHK had a 10 no 100 cameras at the company, and we saw the documentary, like each person creating Street Fighter 2, or what's the version now, I don't know, but Street Fighter. And I'm like, what? Like, I was blown away by how many like phases that they have to create the whole video game. And I cannot believe that Ubisoft like couldn't see the problem. Like, so many people together, focus and get focused and create something cool, and you don't even think about the problems of the game. Like, oh, so silly. Yeah, I know of Yasuke, yeah. Oh, it's in Canada? I thought it was French. Huh. We've always loved Japanese culture. Yeah, they are. They are. They are our soldiers. It's so cool. They protect us. There was a fancy black samurai called Afro Samurai. Really? IP intellectual property. Oh, I see. I see. The misunderstanding of Yasuke seems to come from the English history from sources like Britannica are different from Japanese sources. I see. When I read about Yasuke in Japanese historical records, there was no mention of him being a samurai nor a notable warrior. Yeah, just a slave. But not a slave. We don't have slaves. Just a servant, somebody to serve Nobunaga. In Japan, we've never had slavery. Just something that you need to remember. But English history books says he was a former warrior. So weird. Oh, 6. Okay, 6. French Canadian. Ah, yeah. I know that. I know Canadians. Like there are French places in Canada, but they are getting rid of that or something. No, I know Celine Dion is from isn't she from Canada? But she speaks French. One big province of Canada speaks French. Yoko, when are you going to start playing the piano? I hope soon. The problem of me right now musically is that I don't have a big keyboard anymore. I like some octaves are missing. I have only a small MIDI controller. So hopefully with your support, I can be financially stable or even earn more than I need so that I can purchase a decent keyboard and get back to music. Yeah, like political activities is where you spend money than earn. So unless you are a big figure, I really need to think of the scheme or what you call like the system to do my business better. Like I just realized that I really liked, flying to another country to make a speech. Like that's so awesome, like I like traveling. That's what I'm realizing, especially with my husband. So fun. And so like I learn a lot, like when I have experiences, like I notice a lot of things. Like I'm a sensible person, so I notice a lot of differences and common things, and like I start comparing, and my experience, I know that I can, I will experience for you, like I can share all the uh, my experience with you. And I'm sounding like Kamala now, repeating, repeating on and on about the experience. I'm sorry, but at least I'm not a native speaker. We did it, you guys. We're getting a 2-hour Yoko stream on now. Oh no! I was trapped. I can't believe that I've talked and talked for 2 hours straight. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 2時間. Yeah. In 3 minutes, let's go. Because it's nearly our dinner time. Yeah. Celine Dion only spoke French growing up in Canada. Oh, learned English in a 6 month to sing in America? Wow. That's awesome. Kamala is an NPC toxin circle. Yeah. Well, NPC. Non-player character. I was actually thinking about that Democrats, I think that they don't need a candidate. They just need an artificial intelligence. that would do better. You just input your policies, like the premises of where you stand, like, oh, this is what you believe in and these are the policies, and then just have some AI person, and then they'll do way better. I mean, yeah, do better than Kamala Harris. I mean, of course, like, it's a computer, but still, I mean, not computer, but artificial intelligence, but still, like, what I'm trying to say is that, like, whoever does it doesn't make a difference, at least right now for the Democratic Party. Whoever does it, it's the same. Maybe a little bit different when it comes to Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and so on, like that are more, or AOC, that are more far to the left. But moderate left, they sound all the same, and they whoever becomes, whether it's Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, it's the same. So, like, isn't it better just to have a doll or something and make it speak? Because it's really like, whenever I listen to Kamala Harris, my head, like, I feel like my head is gonna explode out of the, like, my brain tries so hard to process what she's trying to say. Like, I can't see what she's trying to say. And also, like, the awkwardness, that especially when she speaks in public, like, I get mortified for her, and I get this really unpleasant feeling, especially because I speak publicly. I've had that sort of experiences before, so, like, I know what it feels like, and sometimes even I have had moments when I didn't know what to say and so on, and felt embarrassed, right? So, like, I can feel it when other people are feeling like that. Like, I can see it. Humans are interesting because once you've experienced something, and when you see that in like, and when others are going through the same thing, you can detect, like, you can see, right? Like, depressed people, like, I've been depressed, and whenever I see a depressed person, even without them confessing that they are depressed, I can tell that they are depressed. So, like, I can see that, like, the embarrassed, feeling of her. Like, I can sense that, and I feel really awkward looking at her, and I don't want to experience that. Oh, so many times I'm saying experience. Yeah, man, Kamala language is so what you call infectious. Anyway, yeah, we hit the 2-hour mark. We need to go, guys. We gotta go, seriously. Jen Psaki, that brings me back. Man, by circle back. Oh, Jen Psaki. Oh yeah, she was saying that. Oh wow, was she right before the black lady? Wow, that seems like a long time ago. She was circling back all the time. All the time. Democrats elect Skynet. Exactly. The time is coming. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Kamala is low AI. Low AI. Way low. At least you can change the setting, I guess. Oh, this is a Kamala Harris setting. Just let's put low down here. That's so funny. So why are people complaining about Yasuke? Because historically wrong. Feel like my head will explode listening to Kamala. Spell AI. First of all, it's 2 letters, A and I. Artificial intelligence. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you. Let's meet again in in a week. Okay? And make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so that you get notified the next time that I go live. And also follow me on X, okay? I'm like overheating right now after speaking for 2 hours straight. Like I don't even take a break, if you have noticed. I'm like constantly speaking. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I bet that it's late for you, so sleep well, okay? Okay. Thank you so much for your support too financially. It helps me a lot. A lot. Thank you. Choose. Okay. Have a good night or a good day. Thank you so much for coming. I never, take it for granted that you are here. By random. Thank you. Okay. Bye.